G'day and welcome to the Oceanic Gaming Radio podcast. This is episode 97. It is the 22nd of the 7th. Thank you for joining us. It is a gorgeous Monday. We had a bit of rain here in Perth, but it's cleared up a little bit cool, but it's been a lovely week.
It's been cold and wet though, hasn't it, Capo? A little bit cold and wet,
It has been
mate.
cold and wet. Yeah, it's been raincoat weather. But anyways, my name's Captain Perth. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. And alongside me, as always, Grizzly Gaming 86. Fella, how you doing? Just trying to keep dry, I guess.
Trying to keep dry and warm. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you, Cap. I love this weather, mate. This is like this is my weather. Nothing like going to sleep on a rainy night. You can hear the rain, all cuddled up and warm, and you're just grateful for those, you know?
Oh, dude.
I'm
the same. I don't know. I have this conversation with people at work and just all the time. But it's easier to, get warm than it is to cool down. I just much prefer it. You know what I mean?
Mate. It is.
Yeah, scientific.
And something about video gaming in the wet weather as well, Cap. There's something special about video gaming in the wet weather.
Big time. Yeah, it's like that nostalgia, isn't it? Like stuck at home, caught inside. I'm just going to do a shitload of video games. I'm going to play Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask and do it till bloody 11 p.m. at night until Mum walks in and goes, get to bed, you little bastard.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, good times.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like that's happened to you before, has it, mate?
Oh, yeah. Times? Yeah, that was a significant moment, many moments in my life. But how's your week's been, mate? It's been a fortnight.
Week's been pretty good, Capo, actually. Been very, very, well, I say this every week. I say I'm busy every week, but I tell you what, I've never been this busy ever before, Capo. And lots of work drama and stuff that I don't need to go into on this podcast. But look, things are good. I guess one thing I did is I went for a run today, Cap, because usually what's happened, right, is usually I block an hour and a half out in my calendar and I go to the gym and I have a good time. But recently, dude, I just have not been able to find an hour and a half in my schedule. So today I had a 45-minute block and I went, fuck it, I'm going to go for a run. And it was painful, mate. It was very much pain. But I did do 5Ks, so that wasn't too bad. And
that's still pretty bloody good.
I averaged about 6.5 minutes per kilometre over the 5Ks. So
I reckon that's not too bad considering you're not really doing it at all.
Oh, dude, like I'm doing zero cardio, just lifting the weights. So it felt all right, mate. But it did kind of make me want to do a little bit more. So we'll see. Apart from that, Cap, I have been video gaming in some of my spare time. Recently picked up a new game that's been around for a couple of years, so I'm looking forward to discussing a bit of that with you in How's Your Gaming Going. And also, another game that I'm continuing as well that I want to talk with you about, which should be a good time. So, look, mate, that's pretty much me. But I fly out this week, Cap. I fly out on Thursday. Maybe we tell the people moving forward as of next fortnight, Cap, we're going to actually be recording on Tuesday nights. Is that correct?
Yeah, just for a little while. We've pretty much got, I think, just over a month worth of Monday unavailabilities. So I believe there's going to be, so the next fortnight on the 6th, we'll be recording on the 6th instead of the 5th, so that's a Tuesday night. The following fortnight, we're going to be skipping that episode, unfortunately, as I'm going to be away on holidays. And then the following fortnight after that, I think we actually might be back to normal. So I think there's only one, and there's one and a skip. So
easy.
So I'll double check those, but keep an eye on our Twitter and stuff, and we'll keep you apprised of the information you seek. But yeah, so just a short while. But yes, there will be a missed episode in there, so you're going to have a month hiatus at one point. So apologies in advance. But Grizz, we're getting dangerously close to episode 100.
Have you noticed that? What do people want to see from the episode 100? What is it? What is it? I actually think I think we should honestly try to do an in-person episode, Cap.
Yeah, we should book it. We should book it and do it on a Sunday. We'll go down to a podcast recording studio and do it.
Dude, will it work with the international weekend potentially?
Ooh. Maybe not.
Well, we can do a quick half an hour down there while we're full of fucking tequila and do a special 100 episode.
Yeah, that would be pretty special.
Uh,
I mean, I had
good.
grand plans of getting like, giveaways and all kinds of stuff, but
Oh,
it's just
okay.
it's so hard to to find time to get all that shit together. Might have to lean on
Mm.
Pav a little bit, maybe. Maybe Pav can help us sort it all out.
Pav, guys,
Help us, we
if you
need
say
you.
Pav 3 times in the mirror, he appears. Apparently,
He does. I actually say it every morning just because I want to see him. I want to give him a little kiss. But yeah, so there you go. Yeah, I can't remember if you asked me what I've been up to, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
What have you been up to,
Cap? Not an awful lot, actually. Just the same as you. Just really busy with work. We've just had a new developer start, so that's been pretty full on. Getting him up to speed. I've been kind of like a one-man band for the most part. We've got some non-technical founders that have done a bit of smattering of stuff, so I've been kind of trying to wrangle them up. And now we've got another guy who's a developer who's he's got a lot of experience, which is great. So it's been good to be able to kind of just rely on someone to get shit done, which is great. So that's been really good. But it's it hasn't kind of like it's definitely helped with my workload, but it's kind of just been like, oh, now I have time to do all this other shit that I'd never had time to do. So,
sometimes training someone up is also hard work, Cap, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely a significant time sink, but it's going to be one that pays off big time for me. So it's been great so far. But other than that, nothing too major. Just been kind of looking after a almost 2-year-old. Ted's 2 in October, so we're like pretty close.
Video gaming, Cap? Any video gaming happening?
There has been a little bit of video gaming, not an awful lot. Oh, actually, no, I've got a fair bit to talk about. Just realised.
Do you?
Yeah,
okay.
I do actually.
Dude, we need to talk about Elden Ring. I mean, we talked about it last episode, but both of us have finished the game now.
Yeah,
so
we've actually got a fair bit to chat about for for our how's your gaming going. So, but yeah, so there you go. Not an awful lot to report, unfortunately. I bought a few things in the Amazon sales, which they're probably kind of gaming focused. I'll probably talk about it in how's your gaming going. Fuck, I'll just talk. I basically bought a mesh network router. So it's like instead of having like
this router.
I think I paid just under $600, and it's like I've got like 3 units that I can place around the house, and they're not quite because I mean traditionally you get like Wi-Fi extenders and stuff, and so they'd have like a different Wi-Fi network that you would connect further out with the extension. But this is like
that's what we're using.
You connect to one Wi-Fi network. You don't have like these extended networks, so it basically as you walk through your house, you're automatically connecting to your nearest node, and that node kind of supplies the same Wi-Fi network, so you have continued connectivity for your devices. It's really good for if you've got like IoT devices and stuff, because you can just chuck it on the same network.
That's cool.
It's really cool, and it's been super worth it. Like this new one is a Wi-Fi 7 compatible, so it is blazing fast. My Wi-Fi speeds are like fucking way quicker than they were before on my old router. So I'm actually making the most out of my gigabit.
I'm running a piece of shit router right
now. The routers are so important for getting a good connection, especially when it comes to things like QoS, which I'm pretty sure it's quality of service, but it might be something else. Basically, just figuring out which packets it's going to serve. Yeah. But it's been immensely fucking better like from my old router. I think I bought my old router like maybe 6 years ago or something, and I was having like connectivity issues with new devices I was adding to my network, and just kind of like just noticing I just a bit tired, you know what I mean? And ever since I've switched to this, everything's been connecting fine. Even like my IP cams for my security cams, they used to take a little while for me to like connect and kick in. Now when I go through the app, it's almost instantaneous. It's incredible.
Really? Shit.
Yeah, really, really good. So. Yeah, and plus I just don't have any Wi-Fi dead spots now, whereas before, like certain areas in the house, you kind of, be a little bit shit. You kind of go into the bedroom, and, if you kind of were on the wrong side of the bed, you wouldn't get quite enough bloody Wi-Fi. Yeah, so now...
our house has got dead spots, dude. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah, so my play was I'm using 2 of the routers right now, and when we put the extension on top of the house, I've got the third one that can go at the top. And then I wire them all in, get a Cat 6 connection, chuck them all in. They can just be wired directly in. So I've got a Ethernet backbone on all of my access points. And it'll just be fucking super quick. And I was thinking, because like here in Australia, our entire Wi-Fi, our entire like internet backbone is deployed by a government-backed agency. I think they're government-backed, the National Broadband Network. There's been some information floating around that they're looking at 2 gigabit plans for residential customers soon.
Did you pay for your fibre to the premise cap, or was it included in your zoning?
Yeah, our my suburb was one of the first suburbs to get fibre to the premises, and I think it was like a trial suburb to see how it would go, and it was kind of before the NBN really started kicking off. So it was kind of one of those suburbs that kind of was like in the golden zone, because it got put together as like a test run basically.
So you were like, "Hey Mia, we're gonna buy in this area." Okay,
no shit. 100%, because I was streaming heaps back then, and I was like, all right, so these are the suburbs we're allowed to buy in, and by suburb at the moment, it was the one we ended up, settling in.
Dude, when we first started streaming, the Aussie internet literally used to fucking kneecap people from being able to do what they wanted to do.
100%. Yeah,
people were like streaming with 500 bit rate and stuff, and just like,
oh, dude, I remember talking to people being, what bit rate are you guys running? Like, I get these speeds. Like, I notice in the evening, like I have to drop my bit rate, and like, it doesn't happen as much, but it's still a issue in certain areas. But I think we're getting there slowly with the infrastructure and stuff, because it was always one of those things that we always would talk about how. Oh, well, how's Xbox Game Pass cloud going to really work when we've got no fucking infrastructure? You know what I mean?
I mean, our infrastructure is a little bit fucked still, because there's still copper and stuff and a bunch of things that are no good. But I do agree with you. It's definitely the NBN rollout across Australia has occurred, and we've all got access to reasonable internet now. So,
yeah. Plus, I think the other aspect of it is proximity to a lot of data services, things being hosted in America, obviously we're going to get a significant amount of latency, right? So,
you know what? This would be something I'd love to see our partner podcast, Ent, cover, but I'd love to hear the difficulties of being a competitive esports player in West Australia, because a lot of the time you're dealing with almost double the ping of East Coast and stuff, but severely detrimental, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially when you're performing at that level. But yeah, so anyways, we should probably fucking jump into it, mate. Bloody hell.
Let's do it.
Before we do, as always, bit of house rules. So firstly, just want to say a big thank you to our wonderful, wonderful Twitch viewers who are in here right now saying g'day. Straight Jacket Jim, Sikose, we've got old mate Slatos in here as well. You guys are bloody legends. If you want to join them, we go live every Monday, fortnightly, but the next one's going to be Tuesday, just to throw a spanner in the works. Look, just keep an eye on our Twitter. But you can follow us on twitch.tv/Oceanic Gaming Radio. If you go and follow us there, you'll get information when we go live. So there you go. Now, if you want to watch and listen to this at your own leisure, you can go to any of your favourite podcasting platforms, look up Oceanic Gaming Radio, and you'll find us. Otherwise, go to ogr.show. You'll find all freaking links there, baby. The whole lot. I promise you, they're all there. I've checked twice. Okay. Now, one final big thank you to our wonderful Patreon subscribers. They are the legends that come out every freaking month. Drop some spondoolies in our back pocket, slap us on the ass, and we get back to work. Okay, it's really, really nice. They are the following legends: I'm Masukai, Moosey, Caging Runt, Lee, J Libs, Brendan, Strops, and Slatos. Appreciate you guys.
Champions.
All right. Mate, well, let's freaking dive in. Where are we? Not that one. Whoops. This one. There we go. Big big old quest log today, mate. We have got some big changes coming to the Xbox Game Pass. Big in what way, Grizz? Well, let me summarize it in one word: financially.
Okay. Financial,
financial.
And
big
some
changes.
of the stuff on the tiers changing as well, Cap. Not just financial, but actual. What you're getting for your buck changing
but
too.
realistically, for the most part, if you want to get certain features, you will be paying more for the most part, especially if you let things lapse. But let's dive into it, mate. So
give it to me.
Basically,
lay it out.
The tiers are changing significantly. Firstly, Xbox Game Pass for consoles is going to be shuttered for new users only. So I don't really know what the word shuttered means, but from what I understand from the rest of this article, it basically means that you will be moving on to their new type of subscription. Now, the way this works is, now I'm just trying to find the right word for this. Yeah, so new users on Xbox Game Pass in the near future will be greeted by a new Xbox Game Pass standard.
New Game Pass standard, it's called, isn't it, Capo?
Exactly. So this is going to be priced at $14.99 per month, which I think is the same price as the current low tier console Game Pass. Now the difference is you do not get access to day one games. You only get access to back catalog. Now,
also, no cloud gaming as well under that tier cap as well.
It doesn't include cloud gaming. I am a little bit confused because I don't think cloud gaming was included on the bottom tier anyway, but maybe someone might be able to correct me in chat if I'm wrong there. The only reason I say that is because I know the Xbox PC Game Pass doesn't have cloud gaming on its lowest tier. Actually, Straight Jacket Jim's confirming that. Because I've got Ultimate and I've been doing a bit of cloud gaming, which I'll talk about in How's Your Gaming Going. Anyways, there you go. Now, moving along this one, users that are currently on Xbox Game Pass for console will be allowed to maintain their current subscription, including access to day one games and hundreds of other back catalog titles. Now, that's great, but here's the kicker. You can keep that as long as you keep your subscription active. If you ever let that lapse, you will lose that special legacy subscription type.
And you need to go back to this Game Pass standard. Now, Cap, do you get first-party releases then if you maintain your subscription?
Yes, that's what I was saying before. So if you're a current subscriber, you maintain that subscription, you will have the exact same access as you always had, so you won't lose access to the day one games. But if you lapse your subscription, it's gone. So, look, I think this is fairly reasonable of Microsoft. They could have just been arseholes and just gone, see ya. So I think they're still doing a solid. I imagine that a lot of people will let this lapse and it'll just be like say la vie kind of thing. But yeah. Now, moving along, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will not be changed. So it's the exact same thing, but they're increasing the price to $19.99. This is obviously all in US dollars, so do a rough conversion for AUD. And there's some information here. It says right now you can stack 3-month prepaid cards with a 33% discount on the current pre-increase pricing at CD keys. So if you want to go and save a shitload of cash, you can go and do that.
Was that just like a little plug in that article? Is it Cap? Cheeky bastards, probably getting a cut.
I'm positive that they would be. Looking at these, you can always tell in the URL if there's like a what do you call it, like a referral kind of ID or whatever. But anyway, so it looks like they're getting that. But regardless, so there's that one. So yeah, you're going to be paying a little bit more for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Now, obviously, they already had access to not only cloud gaming, but they also had access to, the usual kind of day one releases as well. So the new Call of Duty, if you're really worried about that, is going to be available. All right. So, Now, what else we got in here? So, PC Game Pass is going to be remaining the same, which I think is kind of wild. So, it's getting a slight price increase. It's going from $9.99 per month to $11.99 per month.
Yeah.
But it will maintain the day one games. I don't know about you, Grizz, but I found this really weird.
Yeah, what is the talk me through this, Cap? What is it? Why is the PC Game Pass different to the Game Pass Ultimate in terms of
I think the difference here is that the Game Pass, and maybe Jim might be able to correct me on this one because I don't have an Xbox myself, but I think the online play with kind of like PlayStation Plus or whatever it's called these days.
Yeah.
I think that's all bundled into this. So that's why the console version is a little bit more expensive, is because it also gives you online access via the console. Whereas with the PC Game Pass, not an issue because they don't kind of, do that. So it's purely just for the game catalog, I guess. And so I guess I still find it interesting that they're allowing you to get day one games with the lowest offering of the PC Game Pass. And the only reason I can think of why that would be the case is they've done enough market research to figure out that they are going to lose a significant chunk of their subscribers if they push everyone onto the next tier.
Yeah. So if you are an Xbox, right, you've got the option to either buy Game Pass and get access to the library, or buy your physical games. Whereas I feel like on PC, there's a lot of different ways of owning your games, whether it's through Steam or you got optionality there. So yeah. I agree with you. The risk of raising the price is less risky on the PC side.
Yeah,
from what
even
they're
if
offering.
You maintain the day ones, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're still going to get a little bit more cream from the increase. I mean, they're getting a $2 increase, which, over a significant number of subscribers is going to be a lot of money. But yeah. So now, just kind of tying up some of these, the price increases are global, so every region is going to be having these new kind of pricing models, and the new prices will take effect in September on the 12th. So you can cancel if you don't you can subscribe now, and if you don't like it, you can kind of cancel it before then, yada, yada, yada. But that's how I guess if you subscribed now, you'll maintain current pricing if you held onto your subscription.
So when Game Pass first came out, Cap, it was insane to me to think how much value for money you're getting from that subscription. The library of games was massive, and we had PlayStation and others that couldn't compete with the game service. I feel like I don't know. I know it's only $3 Cap in the Ultimate, like pricing it up to $20 or near on $19.99, whatever it is per month for what you get. But to me, that's if you buy a AAA game in that time and it takes you say 4 months. Baldur's Gate 3, an example, put 100 hours into that. Yeah. You basically paid what it would cost to own that game outright.
Yeah, it's a good point. I suppose once you start looking at it from that angle, if you are spacing out your playtime significantly, it's probably not worth having a subscription at all. You're probably better off just doing your research, finding a game you think you'll enjoy, forking out the spondoolies and going from there. You might even be saving money at that stage as well. And if you can hold out for sales, even better, right?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I do wonder whether we'll see a shift in people buying on and cancelling their subscription for Ultimate Pass. In the Reddit thread that linked to this article, there was a bit of talk about that in there, and there was quite a few people saying, "Look, I'm just like I know it's only $3, but at the moment I'm playing video games in between a full-time job, and the time it's going to take me to beat one video game, I'm going to pay that in the sub cost. So why not just buy that game outright?" So
yeah, I suppose that also depends on your general kind of approach to gaming and what kind of gamer you are. Because some people, me often as well, might play a game for 30 minutes and go, well, I kind of feel like I've gotten enough out of this, so I'm going to go and find something else to play. And other games you just never come back to, and you try something else. Like if in terms of just being able to dip your toes in a bunch of different video games, it's obviously going to give you access to that. You're not going to be sort of locked into one thing that you paid $90 for. But it is a lot of money, Grizz. And I mean, obviously a lot of people having to tighten their belts at the moment, and this might be the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people potentially.
I mean, you can kind of, I don't know, you can kind of see maybe not where they're coming from, but maybe where they're coming from here, Cap. You've seen price hikes for Spotify and other streaming services, Netflix, Binge, basically any other streaming service. You would have seen a price hike.
Literally everything.
Disney Plus. And, we've been covering for quite a while this year around the tech layoffs and the struggles behind game developers, but not in China though. Cap, it was China that were kicking goals. Japan that were kicking goals. So and recently acquiring Activision Blizzard as well must be playing a part here too. So just trying to, I don't know, hemorrhage money.
Look, I think the big issue here, Grizz, is I mean, there's been some big fuck ups at Microsoft recently, and I mean, this particular thing came out before the massive Microsoft outage that happened over the end of last week and over the weekend. But
we should have talked about that. Did that impact you, dude?
It didn't impact me because our services are all Google services, so we don't actually use Microsoft.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people who are affected.
Friday, 12 o'clock, just rolling blue screens until this morning when I had to call the help desk and get them to fix my stuff. But yeah.
So did you have to have a tech come to you to fix it?
No, but they did have to give me an admin key to basically do what a tech would do on it.
Yeah.
So,
which is kind of shit because, that's pretty garbage having to. I mean, obviously the manpower required to fix all this shit. Because I was reading an article about how the vast majority of IT, service sort of providers are going to have to manually go out and fix this issue that happened. And so anyone that's listening and wondering what the fuck we're talking about, on Friday, Microsoft had a significant outage that basically was to do with a piece of kernel software that it was part of Microsoft's endpoint detection offering within their security suite of tools. And that particular piece of kernel software rolled out with a significant bug in the code, which led to a consistent blue screen on restart. So basically just got into a boot loop.
Dude, and exactly what happens. Just boot looping into blue screen, just bang over and over and over. I was like, oh, well, I'm knocking off 12 o'clock. Nothing I can do, working from home, not going to the city. This is it.
Yeah. So it was probably one of the worst IT outages potentially of all time, especially considering, who was affected. There was banks and airports and all kinds of shit. Like I saw this map of air flight kind of paths, and you could see the moment when all of the computers went down, and obviously a shitload of aircrafts were grounded from the air. One thing I will say, Jim is sort of noting that the creator of the kernel software that did cause this issue was CloudStrike, which isn't owned by Microsoft, which is correct, but technically, technically you could argue that it's not Microsoft's fault, but who's doing the QA on this code? Microsoft really should be doing QA on anything that goes out to that, especially their server architecture. So if that stuff passed their QA, bit scary. Anyway, so I think kind of where we're going with this is that, things at Microsoft have been a little bit, how you going, despite posting significant, profits and whatnot and paying their CEOs an obscene amount of money. They've had massive layoffs. They've obviously had this massive fuck up over the weekend. But then they've also bought Activision King Blizzard.
Yeah.
Which
was it $70 billion acquisition?
Yeah, $69 billion from
$69 billion.
At the time, I thought, man, genius idea. Amazing. Yep. But as we go on, looking at what Blizzard's doing, Activision's kind of, just kind of coasting off the coattails of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It might be one of the worst purchases they've ever made.
Well, I do wonder. There was a statement in that article, Cap, that it's likely that this hike of prices is to help alleviate the hole in the pocket from the Activision Blizzard takeover? And I would say absolutely. I mean, $69 billion,
for sure.
mate.
Yeah, there's definitely that's going to be a
This is my question
cost.
to you, Cap. Is the price hike going to drive people away? Like the ultimate bundle being $20 a month? That, I don't know. I feel like that like I say, Cap, when this first came out, I can't remember what it was. It was $5 or $6, $7, was it? I can't remember the standard.
Yeah.
And I know that you maybe weren't getting day one stuff on there, but still, it was very affordable. But even the lower tiers, pretty spenny now as well. So
yeah, I think it's hard because I feel like they've kind of timed this to wait for a lot of other services to have their own increases, so that they weren't kind of the first to go. Oh, okay, but Microsoft's finally upped their Game Pass offering, which was to be expected. But I think they probably will lose a fair few subscribers, but I don't think they'll lose enough for it, like, not to make sense. You know what I mean? Like, and anyone who was going to kind of kick up a stink, they probably would just maintain their subscription on the older pricing, and they've kind of won out in that way.
Yeah, and plus you don't need as many people when the price is high too.
Exactly.
So the odd bloke.
So it's kind
off.
of like this kind of scale of. I still think they're going to be up a little bit after this anyway. I don't think they'll lose enough where it's going to come. Like if they're making this much profit right now and they go up by this and they lose this many customers, I still think they're going to be up than they would have if they didn't do the price increases.
Are you going to keep your ultimate, Cap?
For now. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you more about why I am in How's the Gaming Going. But yeah, so.
Those of you in Twitch chat, I'm making a poll right now. Are you keeping your ultimate? Yes, no. Let's go.
Yeah, let us know. We'll let you know what the outcome of the poll is in the How's the Gaming Going section. But Grizz, following on with this, so obviously during the whole kind of Activision King Blizzard takeover not takeover but purchase, one of the biggest critics of that entire kind of move was the the FTC, what was that, Federal Trade Commission, I think it is.
Federal Trade Commission. Yep.
Now that's a United States consumer organization, supposedly, that is kind of focused on ensuring that big business is working at the interest of its consumers, which, I mean, what a fucking joke. Anyways, so after all this, like the initial kind of purchase and stuff, the FTC took Microsoft to court plenty of times trying to get them to drop the purchase offer, which they were never going to do because, they had significant money on the line, even if the thing didn't go through. So anyways, in the end, Microsoft got away, made the purchase, etc. Now, following all this, the FTC has now seen these price increases and they are basically trying to sue them again. So they've put in a new, they filed a new filing, I guess, which is arguing that the price increase is inconsistent with the case that Microsoft made earlier in the year. And I guess, will kind of say, well, this is good for the consumer, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But they are now arguing that, in fact, what this new increase signifies goes against what Microsoft was kind of trying to put on the stand during the last lot of legal action. They are saying that the new standard tier represents a degradation of the product.
Which is true, Capo, isn't it? When they're getting rid of the
100%.
features that were captured under the standard, they've just shifted those on to the ultimate bundle.
Exactly. So the product has 100% been degraded, but I'm sure Microsoft will be like, well, not quite, because actually the tier that you had is actually just the ultimate tier now, and the tier that used to be there is not there anymore.
As a standard tier. Yeah.
Now it's the standard tier, so that's a brand new tier, but it's just less money. So I'm sure that they'll kind of go along that line. But yeah, essentially what they're saying is the big one, because one of the biggest points of the entire thing was that. For Microsoft, they were kind of saying, well, Call of Duty, we're going to make it multi-platform and we're not going to restrict it on any particular console and it's going to be available everywhere. But now the FTC is kind of saying, well, yeah, but now you're kind of shifting that into a new tier. So Call of Duty is currently moving to the most expensive tier of your offering. So you've kind of gone against everything you've said. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens
So is
with
this
these
another
new filings.
lawsuit? This is another lawsuit, Cap, is it?
It is
That's
a brand
happening?
new one. I don't know exactly what the outcome might be. It's not like they could like give up Activision King Blizzard, I guess. But I mean, they might get a significant slap on the wrist depending on what comes out of the courts. But yeah, regardless, it's a pretty interesting little thing, development.
I wanted to, this is a little bit off topic, but not really, in the same realm. Talk about the quality of the first-party releases under Game Pass, Cap, from Xbox. And we've talked about on this podcast before that potentially, PlayStation was always like our first-party releases, they're this much money because they're this much quality and it's a known quantity, everything else. Game Pass kind of doesn't have that model. But now we're seeing Game Pass increase in price, Cap. Is this going to result in more money in the developers' pockets, i.e. promoting potentially more dev time, better games from under Game Pass?
I fucking doubt it. I don't have an awful lot of faith in just the kind of entire upper management of the vast majority of big tech companies, especially not Microsoft. I think we're in this weird, not weird. I mean, I think we are like tech offerings at the moment are decaying at an obscenely high rate. And I think a lot of that is from upper management being so tied to stakeholder outcomes to the point where they're basically willing to run everything on a shoestring budget just to maximize, shareholder takeaway, financial takeaway at the end of the day. I think we're caught in this massive cycle of just having to one up everything all the time. There's no consistent kind of steady economic growth anymore. It has to be fucking explosive. And as a result, to ensure that we're continuing to see those numbers rise at that same time, we're having to make some significant changes to the way that we operate as businesses. And I say we. I don't fucking make these decisions. These fucking knobs, these CEOs that get paid millions and billions of dollars a year are the ones that made these decisions. And at the end of the day, I just don't think they're sustainable.
Only the Nintendos of this world, Capo, that just fucking keep on doing the same thing forever.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from the Japanese way of handling games development. We spoke about it last episode, but I think Western approach to big business and AAA kind of games development in particular is just unsustainable, and it's decaying significantly. So I cannot see this having any effect on the security of developer jobs, whether they get paid better. I can't see whether their projects are going to be less stressful. I'd say they're probably going to be more stressful. I just think it is a completely fucked landscape for a lot of software developers and just human beings in general. It sucks.
I do wonder what we'll see pushed onto Blizzard in terms of WoW dev and stuff. I feel like we're already seeing some of that, Cap, them announcing their 3 next X packs and kind of gating that already. I feel like they're running on rails now, mate. If they weren't already on rails, now they're on fucking rails. That's the path they're taking.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because I feel like, Blizzard is kind of like this old Disney World, country fair kind of thing that just has been left to kind of rot out in the back over time. And, they've got the old crew still there trying to keep the ride still going. But,
this is going to make it a TikTok. And there's going to be a bunch of people fucking yelling at the bearded guy on the podcast again.
I don't know, man. It's really hard because there's a lot of really good developers, I'm sure, at Blizzard. But it's just, I don't think they have the budget. I don't think there's enough enough room for them to be brilliant, I guess, is my problem, because they're having to stick in their lane. They're having to just keep shoveling out the same old bullshit. So there's no real chance to innovate, I don't think, at these large companies anymore because it's too risky. in their mind. And, again, we talk about it plenty of times. Indies have the space and the room to be more innovative, and that's why they tend to be a bit more riskier. But
smaller team, someone's passion project, as well.
Yeah, and it's also probably it's definitely a lot easier to wrangle a project at a smaller scale like that, a bigger scale. But I don't know, mate. It's just Blizzard. Just I think back to like say 5 to 6 years ago, and I loved Blizzard. And these days I wouldn't even put it on my top 3 fucking favorite developers anymore.
No, you're right.
I really
I'm
wouldn't.
the same as you, dude. Like the Diablo franchise was literally genre defining for me from that young age. I played D1, I played D2 to death, I played D3 to death, and it was big, always big.
Yeah, at a time I thought that Overwatch was an incredibly little bespoke kind of brand new take on kind of I don't know similar kind of formula to other things like TF2 and whatnot, but I just really liked what they were doing, but it's just they just can't keep up anymore, and player bases are migrating as a result. So, anyways, Grizz. So, look, Xbox not doing too good, I don't think. See how they're looking. I'll tell you one thing I'm looking forward to from Xbox, though, Grizz, is a potential handheld from them. I'm really interested to see what that might be. There's obviously been rumours, but I want to know more.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there you go. Now, Grizz, moving along to a company that is probably, for the most part doing the right thing by their players, Nintendo. Bloody Nintendo. Japanese fucking brilliance. Now, their Nintendo Switch console is now officially the longest lasting Nintendo home console generation. Now, also any home console generation from what I understand. And I say home console because we're not taking into consideration pure handhelds, because if we then do that, then I believe the original Game Boy beats it by about 5 years in terms of tenure. But
so how many days we got? How many years we got, Capo? What is the lifespan of the Nintendo Switch, mate? How long?
That's a good question. 2,700 days since launch, which is a lot.
It was a lot.
It was launched worldwide on so 2017, which is a significant number of days.
So the next one under that is the Wii U cap at 1,500 days, which is still quite a long freaking time. What's the average generation life cycle of the PlayStation Xbox? Do you know?
I think
it'd be interesting to know.
It might be 5 or so years. I think 5 or 6 years. I think the video game sequels and stuff, the distance is getting longer and longer, I think. But I think it's roughly that. I think it's roughly that long. But yeah, significant. Look, I kind of wanted to take this moment, Grizz, to kind of paint a little picture here that firstly, we do shit on the Switch a lot here in this podcast.
We do, yeah.
A lot, actually. Probably
it's
to
actually
the point
not
where
a shit console, Cap.
It's 100%.
It's pretty good.
Look, it's a ripper, okay? It's very tired. It's an old fucking horse. It's like the old donkey at the back. You fucking get on. It takes you for your ride. It does a fairly reasonable job of it, and you get off and go, yeah, that was pretty good. But we do need a bit of a hardware refresh. But you cannot ignore the fact that this particular console was probably what saved a significant number of people's relationships, with friends and family over the internet,
big time.
Over the pandemic. I think this was like the pandemic console. I think there was something. What was the we had a. Oh God, I can't remember the last count of how many units this thing has sold, but it's like the most successful console of all time. Something ridiculous, or maybe PS2's above it just slightly. Maybe I'll see if I can find some stats on that. Nintendo Switch sales all time. Find out. 41 million.
It's got some absolute banger games on it, Cap. I would be curious to know what are your top 3 first party Switch releases would be.
All right, so
Do you want me to go
Yeah,
first? Because I've already
Yeah,
written
you
mine
go
out.
first.
Okay,
You
all
go
right.
first.
Well, mine. You're going to put Breath of the Wild on yours because that is mine. Fucking great,
Yeah.
love that. But above that, Super Mario Maker 2, I think, Cat was
Okay.
quite groundbreaking for me. I
Yep.
really enjoyed that game. I had some of the best moments ever in gaming on stream playing that, playing viewer levels and just enjoying that for what it is. And then I think Super Mario Odyssey was a great 3D Mario game as well. I think that's up there with one of my faves on the Switch.
Which one was that? Super Mario what?
Odyssey, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, look, I think, man, for me, all right. I'm going to say Tears of the Kingdom before Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Just because for me, it's just a better game in basically every way. It is Breath of the Wild, but better. So, the story is better. There's more verticality. There's more interesting shit to do. They've kind of reapproached the whole systems. I'm going to be putting that up there, which means I'm going to not consider Breath of the Wild for my top 3 list because, I'm obviously just going to take the best of the two. Then after that, I'd probably say Super Mario Odyssey because it is just a fucking banger.
It's a good game. Very good game. Yep.
But in terms of maybe another one, I'd probably go maybe Super Smash Brothers Ultimate because I've had a shitload of fun with that game in my last job. Some really, really fun times with some mates at my last job.
Dude,
so
you can't go past the Mario parties and stuff as well. Those catch co-op games. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the old
Mario Kart. It's fucking good.
Yeah, the Mario Kart. But Animal Crossing New Horizons was really good. I really enjoyed that. But I do think my top 3 will be Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Odyssey, and then probably, I think I'd have to go.
You played a lot of Link's Awakening too, but I guess that's a remake. Doesn't count. Probably doesn't count.
Yeah. Look. Yeah, I think those would be my top 3. Super Smash Brothers being my final one.
It's like we're putting it into its grave, mate, saying our last goodbyes to the Nintendo Switch.
Well,
not yet, mate, not yet.
Yeah, I wish I was because I just want a new one. But look, I think I really think that the pandemic really pumped this console up and helped it sell a number of copies. Obviously, at the time, people were looking for new ways to connect with one another, from across the globe and even in their own cities because they couldn't leave their homes and whatnot. So, realistically, in terms of pricing for a console, this is a pretty cheap option. And, you could get a couple for the house and, the kids could have one and two, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty unique little console. And I think Nintendo have really hit a real good niche here. But you cannot ignore the fact that Nintendo has supported this console insanely well with its first-party releases. I will say the only one that really kind of didn't really hit the mark was the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That obviously ran like utter garbage. But for the most part, mate, all of their first-party releases, open-world games, have ran pretty bloody well. And I still think that, for me, Tears of the Kingdom is an absolute. That's like a Pyramid of Giza level wonder of just human ingenuity. The fact that they were able to create that and get it to run okay on the tired old Nintendo Switch that was released in 2017 on this fucking minuscule hardware offering is unbelievable.
More dev time probably went into that than the actual game. No, I'm sure they took what they had from Breath of the Wild 1 and were able to apply and just optimize to make it even better the second time around.
Yeah, but still, definitely impressive. So, obviously, I guess they're probably hitting some kind of wall, and I think they're very obviously aware that their audience is probably, really keen on another console. So, interesting to see what they do next. I'm very interested to see what the Switch 2 just resembles. How much of the form factor stays the same? There's been rumors of these new mag kind of, Joy-Cons,
magnetic Joy-Cons and shit. Yeah,
exactly. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they separate themselves from the Steam Decks and the other kind of, the ROG Ally and stuff like that. Because, when the Switch first came out, there was nothing like it in terms of handheld capability, right? Obviously, over time, we've slowly come a long way with other handheld offerings, but the form factor is now a much different marketplace. There's other people who are offering, pretty reasonably spec'd bloody little consoles in the palm of your hand. So I'm interested to see what Nintendo can do to ensure that their Switch 2 isn't suddenly,
I reckon it's going to be less specs than what we're seeing on Steam Deck and ROG Ally and stuff out of the box.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, which bothers me.
Yeah.
Less specs than the Steam Deck bothers me. I think the ROG Ally and stuff, like I can imagine that, but I still feel like if they want to, like, and the thing is, I say if they want to, the thing is they don't give a fuck. They're just going to do whatever they want because people are going to buy the shit out of this console. But, my aim would be at least as powerful as the Switch. I mean, as the Steam Deck.
We'll see. I reckon it won't be, but we'll see. I hope, yeah. Be nice to get 1080p and 60 frames, all that good stuff.
Yeah. God, cheeky buggers. All right, Chris. Now, speaking of, changes in the landscape and, new fidelity features and whatnot, we had... what's his bloody name? Sean Murray of what's the fucking Hello Games came out and announced that we're getting a brand new No Man's Sky update 5.0, another one.
So, Cap, I pulled this story up, right, and I was writing down every feature of this new update.
Yeah,
and I realized I went, fuck, I couldn't do it. There's so much shit that is coming with this update.
It's actually crazy, isn't it? I did the same. I was reading through it on my lunch break again today, and I kind of had a bit of a skim over the weekend, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, no worries. And then I opened it up this midday today, and I was going through it, and I was just going, man, this just keeps fucking scrolling.
Is it going to end?
I don't know when this is going to end, and it just didn't. It just kept going. I couldn't freaking believe it. It is huge. So the new update is called Worlds Part 1. It's not even this is part 1 of a bigger update that they're introducing. So just to kind of scope this in a little bit of background, Sean Murray and Hello Games recently announced a new game coming out soon called Light No Fire. Now, Light No Fire it's kind of an open world No Man's Sky style game again, but it is more geared towards medieval fantasy.
Yeah,
and it's set on an Earth.
I'll say this:
procedurally generated Earth.
Fat Gimme or my brother, if you're in chat, go and Google this now and have a look at it. It is called, if you haven't, Light No Fire. Dude, I reckon it looks freaking sick.
Yeah, so Light No Fire is a game about adventure building, survival, and exploration together. Set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth, it brings the depth of role-playing game to the freedom of a survival sandbox, which is, pretty cool. If you go and have a look at the trailer, it looks really nice and definitely looks like a significant jump in graphical fidelity and even just kind of, the sprites and models, the stuff they're using look a lot nicer, I think, personally, than what they're using in No Man's Sky.
Big time, yeah.
Now, a lot of the impetus for this new update in No Man's Sky is to draw on some of the work that they've done in Light No Fire and use some of that new graphical, lessons that they've learned and add them to No Man's Sky to kind of give it a bit of a fresh lick of paint. So, I guess the general kind of consensus here on what they're kind of doing is, they're transforming the universes into a richer, wilder, more varied and immersive place, featuring huge leaps in water and cloud visuals, increased planetary diversity, new gameplay features, and more. So let's dive in, Grizz.
Yeah. What are you going to do? You're going to go through the whole lot here, Cap, or what's your plan? Because there is a lot to cover.
I'm probably just going to pick out the first 10, I guess.
Cool. Can I just pick the first one that really got me going is the water changes.
Yeah.
One thing about, I don't know, I've always looked at games and looked at the water graphics, and that's always been a sign on the dev work and other bits and pieces. So the first game that comes to mind, Cap, is Black Flag. Assassin's Creed. And then I thought, what's that other pirate game where you're sailing the seas and collecting treasure and doing all that?
I can't.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I still think Black Flag was my biggest uh, moment for water in a game. Just going, I remember seeing a whale coming out of the ocean, and I just thought, "Fuck, we're there." You know?
There, yeah. But the water graphics that you see in some of the imagery from this No Man's Sky update are by far, I think, the best water graphics that I've seen in a game, and they react to different weather. So
Yeah,
you can have calm weather and it's a glassy lake, and then you've got when it's rough, you're literally looking at swell lines coming in, crashing on shorelines, and tides going out, revealing some intertidal kind of coast and stuff. I just thought it looks really, really well done. Water graphics look insane. So
yeah, and
cool.
it looks gorgeous in this game as well. So they've definitely kind of drawn on some of the stuff that they've learnt and kind of gotten closer towards that level of neck level kind of water graphics. But another one is just these new volumetric clouds. They look just gorgeous. Just to kind of summarize what they've said here, they've increased the detail and the definition. So they can be a bit more wispy and dark laden rain. Just they look really cool.
Looks like that's really flying through them in a jet plane. Some imagery there as you kind of cascading across the sky.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Cool.
Yeah, and some of the new biomes and stuff that are available, they've got these new kind of like floating, island worlds with these literal. You can build sky bases with these cool waterfalls.
To talk vibes there, Cap. The islands in the sky. Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, similar kind of vibes. They've also added a bunch of like huge bugs and stuff, which killing those bugs. There's kind of like shared. There's like bugs that are kind of infesting certain planets, so you can go and fight these big bugs and earn rewards by doing it, such as like different armors. There's added a bunch of new ship customization options for this solar class ship, which looks pretty rad. They've added more detailed shadows, and they've got this little slider on the thing, Grizz, and like when you're sliding the shadow between the new implementation and the old, it is significant. It looks amazing.
Tell you what, Cap, this is setting the scene pretty nicely around the new Light No Fire game to come out fucking looking absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of the work that they've done there to make that game look gorgeous has been derived in this game. They've even added some new kind of wind simulation stuff to make desert storms just look nuts. They've got new different life forms that are like more plant-based kind of life forms. They've added a bunch of new kind of diversity things for flora and fauna. There's new skybox colors, including rare skybox colors. There's new enhancements for your engines and fucking bits and pieces, and they fixed the UI up a little bit. Man.
Now, Cap, tell me, how much is it?
It's free.
It's free?
It's fucking free, man. That is mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You look at how much change. I wonder how much dev time would be in those changes, Cap.
Oh, man, significant amounts. And that's the other thing is Hello Games, I would love to know what their profitability is and what their revenue kind of is, because I'm sure they've sold a significant number of copies of No Man's Sky now, even post, the initial kind of blowout of when that game first released and the subsequent kind of, clamoring of teeth and gnashing of the, of the masses, because people were not happy with how that game looked out the gate. But wow. Yeah, they've done some significant stuff. Very interested to see what they do for part 2 of this update, Grizz. I wish they had a bit more time to really experience this game.
I wonder whether it's just pulling in more stuff. I think it's more stuff coming in from Light No Fire.
I'd say there's probably other systems that they want to adapt for No Man's Sky, maybe stuff to do with fire and things like that that aren't quite in this update. Just kind of give everything a bit of a lick of paint.
Just talking off a comment in the chat there. I hope they have a smoother launch this time, or are confident to delay it until it is great. I am sure they wouldn't make the same mistake again, Capo.
Yeah, look, I think that's one thing that we've seen from Hello Games is they're happy to obviously drip feed out the content now But I get the feeling, I mean, without knowing these people personally, obviously, but I get the feeling that launch really affected them as human beings. You know what I mean? Because I heard interviews with Sean Murray about it, and I mean, it was rough, man. Like, I think the big issue was it was like Icarus flying too close to the sun. They were this, No Man's Sky was this insane engine of hype that they could not stop once it got rolling. People were so hungry for that game, and yes, there was probably some features that they overpromised on, etc. But wow, it blew up in
I'm
their
sure
faces.
they probably planned on bringing those features in, Cap, and then it just wasn't achievable. And maybe they pulled them. Maybe they had them in there, and it was like, nah, isn't working. They pulled them.
Yeah,
interesting. Interesting. Would they seem very connected to their player base now? They bring out a lot of content.
Man, they clearly love this game. If you're providing, this is your fifth major update that is free, and I mean the level of shit that they're putting into these updates is immense. Clearly they love this game enough to keep supporting it. They could have just called it quits at update 2 or 3, but they've just kept going. And it's still going. And maybe there's again, we don't know what the financials are here. Maybe it's lucrative enough for them to continue to keep pumping this out and just keep charging for it. But there's plenty of other
microtransactions in that game, Cap, or is it just the game price? It's just the game price, is it?
I don't think so. Maybe someone in chat might be able to correct us there, but I'm pretty sure you just buy the game and you play it, which pretty fucking rare these days.
Yeah,
you gotta really put your hats off to them in a lot of ways. But I definitely understand your concern there, Harry J, because that initial launch was pretty rough. Okay?
It was a bit rough. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, there you go, Grizz. Now, the next one I want to talk about, Grizz, is there's a bit of an interview that came out from one of the voice actors of Elden Ring's recent Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC by a guy called Richard Charles Linton. Now, Linton is a actor traditionally. He's done a lot of kind of just like UK drama stuff and bit of not Broadway, but like theatre stuff. So he's not a gamer, really. He's played games with the kids, but he's not a big gamer. But
he hadn't done any video games before this point, Cap, had he? He hadn't done any games work. No.
This was his first bit of games work. Now, he basically got a call up by his agent saying, hey, got this video game. These guys have selected you. They'd like you to come in and do some voice work for this new character they've got. Now, the character this guy would end up kind of voicing was a character called Egon. Or Igon. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce the name, but he's the guy who says, "Curse you, Bale!"
Yeah, so good, dude. Yeah. It's one of the most iconic bits of voice acting in that game.
It has become a huge meme. There's like classic shit on there. It's like, I think my favorite one's like, man literally too angry to die. It's just so fucking good. And he helps you fight one of the, optional major bosses in the DLC, Bale the Dread or whatever the fuck is it. He's just this massive dragon, and Egon's whole kind of character plot is that he's initially had a fight with Bale, he's crushed his legs, and he's basically left to rot, and he just hates Bale so much. And the whole time during the fight with Bale, he is shit-talking him the whole time.
Yeah, the whole fight.
It's just amazing. It's so funny. Now, the reason I wanted to kind of go through this is because it's just such an interesting look and window into Miyazaki and how From Software put these games together. And I guess just like it almost gave me goosebumps reading this when I was kind of like looking at this.
Well, the guy didn't know what he was walking into, Kat. In fact, he even states that he actually didn't know who Miyazaki was or that he was a big deal. He didn't know anything about Elden Ring, so he came into the room with zero bias.
Yeah,
and
So
you go.
Yeah. I'll just read a bit of this. So he basically says, I walked into the recording studio and there were at least 12 or 15 people in the room. Mr. Miyazaki was there, so we shook hands, but he largely didn't communicate with me in English. Other people did. A man called Adam Chapman, who was the voice director on the piece for me, works with a company called Fire Poets. Now, where am I? So yeah, now I'm not entirely stupid, but I had not heard of Miyazaki before. I didn't know the game, and I didn't know the status of the game, and I didn't know his status. But when I walked into that room, his status was very clear immediately. Everyone was very friendly, but at the same time, I could see that this was a far bigger deal than I'd imagined it was going to be. And added to his immense credit, took me under his wing and said, "Look, this is what they're going to be looking for." He says, "Look, this is what they're going to look for. This is what you need to do. Be open to moving in different ways with the character. No one's quite sure what they're going to end up with, but it's a journey that we're going to go on together." I just thought that was so kind of like they had no idea what the fuck this was going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously by the end of it, they went, "Fuck it, that's great. Put that in the game."
Yeah, and it was great. It was great.
It was.
Look, Cap, he goes on to say that I remember thinking when I left how exhausted I am. That's never happened to me before. I'm absolutely wrecked. My voice is wrecked. I'm physically exhausted and I'm emotionally exhausted. It was quite the experience. He goes on to say that he was there for about 5 hours, but spoke probably only 7 minutes of lines, or a take that he would usually do within 7 minutes. And just amazing.
Yeah. Even here, he says, I'd perform one of the lines and then there would be an extensive conversation between Miyazaki and the other people around the room. Largely, I think the ways things worked was one of the other people would speak to Adam, explain what direction Mr. Miyazaki wanted to move in. But he, the mysterious figure in the center of the room, was very much in control of the whole operation. It just kind of harkens back because I don't know about you, Grizz, but
yeah,
I know that Miyazaki is obviously a major piece of all these games, but you never really know how important is he? Is he just putting the story together and then kind of loosely drawing things in? But it seems like based on this, like he's fucking in
absolutely.
there.
And the voice acting in Souls games has always been such a strong part of that. And like you say, silent protagonist, but the voice acting from the characters has always been really, really interesting to me. And it looks like he's down in the weeds. And you see him asking this guy, "Yep, do it again, but add fear in your voice. Do it again, but add a touch of sorrow. Do it again, add a little bit slower this time, a little bit more rage." And they've just like really prompted to try to get out of him what they were seeking.
And taking it in whatever direction they felt like, because it feels like it must have been really organic, which is just, they didn't really know what they were after to begin with. And then by the end of it, they just had something that was going to be in one of the greatest selling games of all time.
There's one really funny bit here, Cap, because obviously this guy's not a gamer, but he said in here that he approached Miyazaki and said, "I think there's a mistake with the script here, because 1 minute he wins and I'm saying a winning voice line. The next minute I'm saying that we've lost and it's sorrowful," or whatever else. And he's explained to him, "It's a video game, Richard. Sometimes you defeat the beast and sometimes the beast defeats you. We need both options." And he hadn't kind of thought about that potential in his head. But Cap, even like after he'd done the voice acting work, he didn't know what his character was, and he didn't know that he was facing a dragon. He was kind of gone in blind. It wasn't until this interview and the guy interviewing him has described, "Well, your character's this guy," and he's like all fucked up because he's trying to kill this dragon, and explains the story to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense." Yeah,
which is it's not a rare thing for voice actors to have very little idea of what's going to happen, because a lot of the time they don't give them too much information just to kind of minimize, leaks and stuff like that. So, but obviously in this particular instance, I do wonder if deep down there's a reason, especially for a guy like Miyazaki who, maybe he finds it he finds that to be a particular way to get the most or more interesting stuff out of people. But I do wonder whether that minimal information is kind of like a technique for them in some way to kind of try and get the most out of a voice actor. It is interesting though, isn't it? It's very interesting.
It is. Oh, absolutely. I loved the candid nature of this. And, it's the first time we've really had insights into the creative process that goes behind these FromSoft Souls games. So, really enjoyed it. But it's interesting, Cap, because I just, reflections for me, clearly the creative process, like Miyazaki is down in the weeds in this stuff. It's not like, hey, you're the the director of the voice line stuff. You go and do
sort
that,
this out.
and he's not there. It's just
No, he's
crazy.
there for especially all these really important pieces. But I loved it as well. I really enjoyed reading this article and just kind of getting a little window into what that all looks like. And I don't know, just again, it just kind of gave me goosebumps almost, like reading how, because you'd probably expect maybe 3 or 4 people in the room kind of doing all this stuff, but having 14 or so people in there, it's almost like, I don't know, it kind of gave me like a feeling of like a mafia or some shit, what I mean? Like just different, just so cool. But anyways, very cool story.
Should fucking make a documentary on game dev of the Souls games, mate, and get it in there. I'd love to watch that.
I'd love that big time. Yeah, it'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? But yeah. All right, Grizz, we're going to move through to our final story for the quest log today. Baldur's Gate, Larian Studios. God, they're legends, mate. I love them immensely.
Yep,
now,
very good.
They have recently announced that they are going to be wrapping up their support of Baldur's Gate 3 soon. Now, initially, they did kind of announce that patch 7 was going to be their last of the major updates and it would include mod support. But they've since come out and said, look, actually, there's going to be some more stuff after this. Don't worry. We're going to be supporting a little bit longer. So keep your eye out. Get excited. But they have announced a bunch of the stuff that's going to be coming in patch 7. So kind of wanted to touch on all this, Grizz, because I think it's really rad. So
has this released yet, Cap? I think some of this is released already, isn't it? Patch 7 come out.
I think it's in closed beta right now, so I don't know if it's actually out yet. But I think it's not too far off. But let's just go through the big points here, mate. So the first one is they've got some pretty cool updates to split screen that I can't believe no one's kind of, well, maybe people have done before.
It is insane. I love this.
It's really cool.
What happens? What happens, Kat?
So you can basically be, your traditional split screen mode is there's literally a split down the screen, right? And each character moves independently, and you kind of see what each player's doing on each side of the screen, and from the perspective of your character. Now, when in this new update, when players that are in the split screens get close enough, the split disappears, and you're just in the single screen. And then when you get too far away again, it resplits.
It's mental. It looks so seamless too. I mean, I do hope that it doesn't cause any issues, graphical issues, but it looks like so good.
I would have thought, Grizz, that this would lead to a slight performance increase, especially if you're spending a fair bit of time together, purely just because it's one less camera to keep an eye on for the game, which I would imagine that would lead to a slight
less rendering of
increase.
Stuff probably on both screens. Something like
you're not having to re-render it across a couple of views. It's just a single view. So I would think maybe, but I don't know for sure.
Kazi's saying that Lego games did this.
Did they?
Did that years ago. Back in Lego, ahead of the times.
Man, that's pretty fucking cool. Regardless, I've never seen this before, and I think it looks fucking sick. So there you go. Now, the next one, Grizz, they got changes to the honor mode. So they're making improvements to combat. Even more creatures have been bestowed with additional legendary actions, including the Bulette, everyone's favorite neighborhood surgeon, Malice Thorm, and the Gith Yankee, Chris Yakan, and Chirai Hakrak, and Petras.
So we've beaten most of those, apart from, I think, maybe even the Gith Yankee ones. But yeah, this does scare me. I hope they don't fuck my honor mode playthrough because of these changes, Cap.
Yeah.
You better not, mate.
They've also got a final enemy that will be receiving a new spell called Draw Ragslin, which I believe is the big red hobgoblin in the goblin camp in the first act. They can now cast Arachnid Compulsion to rally the spiders that reside in the nearby pit to fight the real enemy, you. So there you go. Pretty cool.
We've beaten that guy, so that's fine. It's all good.
Excellent.
Put him down.
Now, the modding toolkit. So now the official modding toolkit is going to be coming in September. So I guess this is when the update's going to be happening. You'll be able to load up the game with a range of new mods. The cool toolkit will give you everything you need to edit and create entirely new content, including editing items, cosmetics, classes and subclasses, races, dice skins, user interface, and quality of life improvements. So that's a pretty significant kind of amount of potential there in terms of what you're going to be able to do.
Yeah. It's going to be great. If it's anything like Divinity Original Sin 2, the only thing that I've pissed off about here, Cap, okay, they give people free dice skins when I've got to play on a mode and beat it deathless, and people can just go and cheaters, mate.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as people if people mod it into the game, mate, that's not the same. So, I know what you mean, though. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. All right. Now, they've also introduced a bunch of new changes to the evil endings.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a bunch of different pathways for you to take as evil characters, which will lead to new cinematics.
Did you play Dark Urge, Cap?
I did play Dark Urge, but I played the good ending of Dark Urge where I kind of resisted the Dark Urge, essentially.
Me too. I did the same as you. Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was a really cool ending. So yeah, there's also a bunch of fixes and stuff coming, and there's a screenshot of Asterion kissing someone. So I guess there's a bunch of really cool stuff coming. Plus also improvements to party banter, where party banter between companion characters was limited to characters controlled by a single player. In patch 7, multiplayer parties will support banter between characters assigned to different players. This patch also resolves issues with rendering some romance party banters inaccessible while adventuring. So don't worry, banterers. You're going to be well supported moving forward. So there you go.
And at the end, Cap, they say, it's hard to believe it's almost been an entire year since we launched Baldur's Gate 3. The journey isn't over yet. Patch 7 won't be the last update for Baldur's Gate 3. Still have a few things up our sleeve, including a bunch of stuff. So there you go. Maybe some more things. More things coming, huh?
Yeah, very rad. Now, there is another story associated with Baldur's Gate, so I figured we'd just pick it up here, Grizz. But it's pretty rad, and it just goes to show the amount of attention to detail Larian took with this game. So basically, part of the whole shtick of this game is towards the final act, you find yourself needing to find these particular crystals, right? Now, if you, for some reason, drop your crystals in this moment in the game where you have to go into this sub-ocean facility that blows up, if you leave your crystals in there for some reason, i.e. you drop them on purpose, what happens is a few different things. A new quest essentially opens up for you to reclaim those crystals and find out where they went. And what ends up happening is either they're carried by one of the fishmen that will ambush you in one of the areas, or if you've already killed all them, there's an old fishmonger who has no impact on the game. They find the stones and are willing to sell them for a song, or if you murdered the old troutman kind of fishmonger guy, you can find the stones in a dead fish that washes up on the shore. That's bonkers.
This game is fucking mental.
It's deep, isn't it? It's deep on every level.
It is too deep. Actually, that's one thing we'll get there. But yeah, playing through the game a second time, dude, it's like a different playthrough. We're using different origin characters and stuff. But yeah, it's amazing. Amazing video gaming.
Yeah, I can see myself playing this game with Ted when he's older, having another really big, solid playthrough. But fuck, what a game. Absolute ripper. So yeah, very cool. Now, Grizz, got a little question for you, mate. I'm hoping you can fill in some gaps. I would like to know, how's the gaming been going?
Hi. Dude, my gaming's been going pretty well. So look, on the Baldur's Gate 3, we are doing our honor mode playthrough. We are in Act 2, Cap, probably about 3/4 way through Act 2. So slowly cruising through, mate. One thing this time, though, Capo, we've beat a heap of bosses, dude, with just dialogue only, which has been cool. So no physical fighting.
Yeah, very cool.
There's a few in Act 2 that you can do, like the surgeon guy and the coin lady, the coin and a few others. So very cool.
I charisma'd most of those because I had like
Did you?
a warlock who had insanely high charisma. So
yeah, we've got a warlock in the party doing the same thing. Yeah. But dude, it's just such a good game, such a good co-op experience as well. Really enjoying the second playthrough with that. And like I say, things change. A lot of things change depending on who you've got in your party and how you do things. So, yeah, like for example, you know that spider guy that takes you through that dark area and with the light globe, which allows you to travel. Yeah, so he takes you into that city all the way. If you follow him all the way, he takes you to the city. First time we played the game, dude, we punched him and stole the lantern, killed him, stole the lantern from him, and that city was hostile. So we couldn't buy anything in there. Nothing. Couldn't talk to anyone. We just fought our way through that city. Whereas this time we're like, holy shit, this is actually a whole city that we just have never actually done. It's just like another whole area. Yeah. So that's cool,
wild.
Man.
That's really wild. Very rad.
Very rad.
Yeah, that level of kind of just variation in your playthrough is beyond just like dialogue. It's like everything.
Everything. Big time. They did a great job. Cap, I finished Elden Ring, and maybe I'll just quickly do the Elden Ring wrap up. I probably said what I needed to say last episode, so I'm not going to go on about the game too much. I will say, I think when we did the last episode, I think I was on the last boss. Last boss to me was fucking annoying, Cap.
Yeah,
like I ground my head against the fucking wall. I ended up just getting a build and just cheesing him in the end. Yeah. And just to get that game done. But look, I won't let that sour the rest of the playthrough. It was an amazing game, probably top 10 game experience, I think. You know, highlighted
100%.
by amazing voice acting, great exploration, everything else. So, yeah, really great. I don't know if I'll play it again, Cap. I don't know how you feel about that. Were you? No.
I can't find myself doing it. Like, you know, my first Elden Ring playthrough was 150 something hours. My second one was 115. You know, with DLC. So I haven't even finished the base game on this second playthrough, but I probably won't.
I'm the same as you. I haven't finished the base game on my second playthrough.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd piss it in now that you've got everything.
I would go and finish it if there was a change to the ending, but apparently there's not. So it's purely just the DLC. So I kind of don't see an awful lot of opportunity there for me to, gain much extra kind of enjoyment out of it. And a lot of the enjoyment for me was just getting to a point where I could do the DLC and then doing the DLC. So now I'm kind of done with that. I'm kind of happy to walk away.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
Well, when I finished that, Cap, I was looking for a game to play. I had a few that I have on the back burner, haven't played. Dredge was one of them. Risk of Rain 2 was one of them. And I ended up buying that and giving that a crack. I probably put like maybe 7 or 8 hours into the game so far. But, dude, it's right down my alley. Like, I can't believe I haven't played it sooner. I actually do kind of feel it's a mix between... It's a roguelike, so the progression, every run is a new run and you slowly find more items to progress the game, and quite in depth. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, mate. And I actually think it's going to be a great co-op game. So it's one of those co-op roguelikes. So I'm looking forward to
So, Grizz, give the people a bit of a...
Okay.
Describe it. What's the go? What's the gameplay loop?
All right, so there's a bunch of different characters you start with. I think you start with 2 characters. The gameplay loop is basically you spawn into this area, and it's like a gambling simulator. There's a lot of memes about Risk of Rain 2 is a game about gambling. You basically kill enemies for money, and then you use that money to basically open loot boxes, and you will get items in the loot boxes that give you upgrades for that specific run. Now, there's a constant timer on every run. As time goes, the enemies get stronger and spawn more. So there's this fine balance between you want to kill enemies to buy loot boxes to get upgrades, but you also want to be quick about it and proceed through the game, because the longer you take, everything's going to fuck you up as you play through. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, Cap. I've got a favorite class. The classes feel amazing. Like, I cannot explain how different each of them feel to play. The first class you play is very much just like a shooter class, and then I'm playing this one that's almost like it's just like a sniper. It's basically, so you can zoom in and headshot people, and there's crit zones at highlights, and every character's got a movement ability. So the sniper character that I'm playing, I wish I knew his name because I don't remember. You lay down these little mines, and they're like little propulsion mines, and they'll
sick.
propel you forward or up or whatever it is. And you can hold 2 of those, and you can throw them around to propel yourself through the level. But yeah, I think I've definitely slept on the Risk of Rain franchise. I always saw people playing them, and I did the old classic Slay the Spire trick, Cap, where I didn't particularly like the art style, so I just decided just to skip it until now when I needed a game to play. But I am really enjoying the gameplay loop. It's hitting those little dopamine hits that roguelike games give me, which is you see that little bit of progression and you learn something new every run, and then you go back and you fix what mistake you made to get through that bit the second time. So yeah, I'll report back on it next time. But so far, I'm really enjoying it, and I am excited to get. There are a few of our mates playing it right now, and it is co-op, so you can play your way through the game with friends as well.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm gonna. Well, I've downloaded it.
nice.
I'm gonna try and jump in at some point, Chris. Maybe towards the middle of the week, perhaps. But
yeah.
I'm gonna say good day. I'm gonna come in and fucking shoot some bloody aliens with you, mate.
Give it a whirl, mate. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Now, Cap, that's my gaming, mate. How is your gaming going, mate? How's your gaming going?
My gaming's been going really good. So I too finished Elden Ring. Same kind of vibes, like just the world building and the extension of the base game in every way. You know, like the new weapons, the new kind of arts, the new.
What did you finish the game with? What weapon were you using at the end? Was it the sunflower bonky thing that you get?
I used the sunflower up until the final boss, and that's when I had to get dirty, basically, because it was. I loved the final boss for the lore side of things, but as a final boss, like it was just obscene how much damage was coming out of it, but then also at the same time, like there was just so much AoE and just virtually undodgeable shit, and I kind of hit this point where I was like, I just need to finish this game. I cannot be dedicating any more time to this. I just need to be done with it. And so I basically found this shield in the game where you can just sit behind it and poke things with it. And I just went with the most bleed heavy thing and just kept poking this fucking dude over and over again. But, that was the way it still wasn't even a free kill, to be quite honest. Like it was still kind of difficult.
Someone clip that, Cat.
Yeah.
Fucking poking this dude over and over again.
Poking this bloke over and over again. But yeah, so it was I didn't hate the final boss, but I definitely didn't really enjoy it that much. And I think it was kind of a little bit of I don't know. It was a bit of a low point for me, I think, for the most part, because it was like this really big build up and then this like boss that I just felt was a little bit unfair for the most part. But I think the visuals of that final boss was really cool. And, the whole Radahn side of things, I just thought was freaking rad because all the lore in the game.
Hugs you, and if she hugs you twice, then you get fucked up. Yeah. I liked all that.
It kind of implies that the other NPCs that you met along the way were probably like under Miquella's spell, essentially, and had been kind of turned against their will.
I didn't realize that. Right.
Yeah. So there's all these little lore like nuggets that kind of come out of like when you finally meet Miquella and kind of understand what they're all about.
Did you go back to the sleep lady, Cap, after you beat the final boss?
I didn't afterwards. What happens?
You have to go and do it. No, I'll spoil it for you. Not much. There's an item there you can pick up.
What is it?
It's a little flower that you can put in your hair. It's like the headpiece of Saint Trina. Is that her name? What's her name?
Yeah.
The woman that
Saint Trina. Yeah, who is like a alter ego of Miquella, basically. But yeah, I mean the game was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I really didn't want it to end for the most part because Elden Ring's just one of those things where every area you go into, you kind of. I just love the whole. Okay, I'm in this new area. where am I going to go first? How can I maximize my exploration and be most efficient with it? And I just really enjoy that kind of gameplay loop of trying to, explore an area as efficiently as possible. So I got
Are you a go left first person or a go right first person? Cap? You clockwise, anti-clockwise, mate?
I'm probably going to go clockwise most of the time. What about you?
I'm clockwise as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Depends, obviously. If there's certain reasons for me to believe that clockwise isn't a good idea, maybe I might not. But yeah, for the most part, I kind of go clockwise. But yeah, wow, what a game. Definitely deserving of the Metacritic score of greatest DLC of all time. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what From Software whip up next. I'm
Is
hoping
that right,
within...
Cap? Greatest DLC of all time. Is that
according to the Metacritic scores, it's now beaten Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, which was the last greatest DLC of all time. So, yeah, I think it's something like a 96, 97 overall rating, which is
pretty good.
Huge. So
they did make the game easier, Cap, didn't they? Didn't they buff some of the scooter fragment upgrade damage?
They did indeed. Not that it helped for the final boss. I tell you that much for fucking free.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
I definitely felt as I got to about halfway through my tree fragments, I felt quite strong. And some of the bosses I came up against, I was just one-shotting. So, whereas when I first started, man, everything was smashing the hell out of me. But yeah, God, what a game. So yeah, finished Elden Ring. Now, the other thing I did, Grizz, was because, and look, we spoke earlier about the fact that I have a Xbox Ultimate Game Pass subscription, and I play a fair few games on the cloud streaming here and there. You know, when a game comes out and it's kind of like a more RPG, doesn't need, minute reaction time stuff, just because of the latency issues with obviously having a cloud stream game. I've played it in the past. Anyway, so I found out the other day that that Fire Sticks, as in the Amazon Fire Stick, the 4K version, can play Xbox Cloud Gaming, which I thought, well, they're on special right now. I need to give that a fucking crack. So I bought a 4K Fire Stick, and I've been playing some cloud games on my TV through the fucking Fire Stick.
Dude, I've got 4K Fire Sticks in my house.
Yeah, well...
How do you... What do you need, a controller? You need an Xbox controller, yeah?
Yeah, you just need... Well, no, you don't even need an Xbox controller. You just need a compatible controller, which could be pretty much anything that's Bluetooth for the most part. So, pretty rad. And obviously an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So, yeah, I kind of just had a bit of fun with it over the weekend.
You're telling me, Cap, with your TV, you don't need an Xbox, you don't need a PC.
No.
You can
just need a Fire Stick.
You can use a Fire Stick and you can play video games on that.
Yep, ready to go. So, yeah, I obviously, the kind of everything aligned this week because I had my new router come in, had the Fire Stick rock up. And yeah, so me and Ted sat in the living room on Saturday and we just kind of spooled up a few random games and we played this one new game that's just opened out on Game Pass recently called Flock. And it's this little kind of indie game where you're riding on this bird and you're floating around on this like sky place, and there's all these little weird fish-looking animals that you go and lure and identify, and you're kind of like a little biologist flying around on this bird, like identifying new creatures and getting them to flock together, and then you got to go and find these whistles so you can get them to follow you, and it's quite cute, and it's just a little simple indie game.
So. How did it run, Cap? Was there any laggy, shitty bits?
Ran really good. I think there was a few audio issues here and there, but like some little pops. But other than that, it was quite responsive. I was actually pretty impressed. There is a tiny, minute, noticeable delay in the controls. So I don't really recommend playing it with more kind of Twitch requirement games. Kind of like if you're playing like online. Kind of Call of Duty. I wouldn't recommend this obviously, but I've been using it for this Flock game and other RPGs in the past, and it runs great. And yeah, with the new router and the Fire Stick, it's been great on the TV. And yeah, me and Ted have been having a blast. Me and Ted's kind of. I've been trying to slowly expose Ted to some games recently, and I bought him a nano Switch controller for if I can find a little Switch game to play with. So he really enjoyed playing that, and he was kind of moving the character with on the bird and stuff, and he was getting pretty excited about that. So yeah, it was really cool, really good fun.
Nice, man.
There's another
Very
game. What is it? Kinitsugami, is it? I think there's a new game out on Steam. I think it's called Kinitsugami, and it's really weird. But it's going really Kinitsugami, Path of the Goddess. Now, to describe it is very difficult because it's about 50 genres all in one, and you might recognize the YouTube trailer if you saw it, Grizz. But it's this game set in like a weird kind of like mythological Japanese era, old era kind of thing, and you're this kind of samurai guy running around fighting all these demons that are like encroaching on this mountain, and you've got to clear all of this kind of filth and stuff across the mountain. And whilst you're doing it, you're trying to protect this goddess that is with you that I guess probably helps with your powers and whatnot. So it's kind of a mix between a tower defense game, but then you're like also kind of doing some action combat stuff, but then you're also trying to protect the princess as well. And, you're kind of putting these different characters around these choke points to make sure that things can't get to certain areas. And then that's all happening at night. And then by the day, you're kind of leveling up your village and stuff. It looks sick. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I think this is going to be my next target for the Xbox Game Pass cloud gaming. So that looks really, really cool. And it's reviewing really well. So really weird little game, but seems to be doing quite good. So weird little action strategy game. So go and check it out if that seems like your kind of shtick. Now, other than that, Grizz, I also played a shitload of, what's it called? Grounded last week with some other mates. Now, that is that survival crafting game where you're playing these kids that have been shrunk down to the size of bugs in the backyard. Dude, that is a phenomenally good game.
I'm pretty sure Kazi's given this one a good crack, mate.
It's a cracker. It's a little cracker, and I can see why he's been playing it. I was really surprised with it, actually. I didn't really know what to expect, but I kind of thought the premise seemed a little bit lame, but it's a really tasteful little kind of distillation of, I guess, that kind of 90s nostalgia, Honey, I Shrank the Kids kind of thing without being too cringy or anything. But then, you're playing these kids in this, kind of backyard, that's, obviously you're the size of a bug. And you're having to fight all these creatures, and there's like this full progression thing going on with the crafting materials, and the story's really good. You're kind of running around the backyard trying to find these little kind of shrunken down labs that have all this research that you need to de-shrink yourself. And I just thought it's been incredible so far. I just wish I had a bit more time up my sleeve to play it, but I'm getting a real big kick out of it, and it's almost the same level of enjoyment with a survival game as I had with Subnautica.
Right, big. Okay.
Yeah. So if you've ever looked at this game and thought, "Oh, it looks a bit lame" or whatever, I really recommend that you give it another crack because I've really enjoyed it so far. I think you'd be really surprised at the depth of the gameplay and the crafting systems and just the enjoyment you'll get out of making bases and stuff. They've got some really cool, there's, I don't want to give too much away, but there's some really cool mechanics that you kind of earn over time with what you explore and find along the way. And integrating those into your base and stuff is a lot of fun. So, yeah. Can highly recommend.
It's co-op as well, isn't it, Capo?
Fully co-op, and it's a really interesting little way of multiplaying because it's got this like shared save thing going on where I guess you can kind of play the game by yourself for a little while, and your save file gets synced with your friends, and then you can go into a shared world together if you want. And yeah, you kind of, so if you came online, you're like, oh, all the guys aren't on tonight, but I'll just go and do some farming of some materials or something. You can go and do that, and then the next night, you don't even share a server or anything. Someone hosts the server at all times, but your progression is still shared with them.
That's
which
cool. Yeah,
I
yeah,
just thought was really, really well done. So, some really interesting kind of network mechanics there, I guess.
Game dev. That's a better way to do that, I reckon, than having a dedicated server that someone's got to pay for and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. The only issue is you need someone with a reasonable internet connection to host the server and realistically a good upload and download speed. So you kind of just want to find a good person to be able to host. But other than that, it's cracking. So
Cool. Nice one, mate.
Anyways, Chris, that was my gaming. So thanks for listening. Now,
it's been going well.
Moving along, mate.
Rapid Fire News, brought to you by
DJ Francesco.
It's in the freaking game, Grizzly Gaming 86. GTA 5 story DLC was scrapped because GTA Online was a cash cow. This was a claim that was made by one of Rockstar's cinematic editors. Doesn't surprise me, Grizz. I can definitely see, it's very well known that GTA Online has made Rockstar a significant number of dollars, like a huge ton of dollars. It's huge. Yep. And I just can't imagine a world in which the DLC would have ever been lucrative enough to eclipse that.
Yeah. Save a dev time. Work on the online game.
Yeah. Make the company a big load of cash. It sounds like, what the shareholders would want, Grizzly Gaming.
Interesting, mate. Okay. Cat, emulator PCS X2 2.0 has released. It is a more powerful and compatible PS2 game emulator. Cat, PS2 games have always been impossible to emulate. If you do emulate them, they're usually pretty buggy. And this is interesting, Cap, because this is at the time where you can play PS2 games on PS5, apparently with subpar image quality, underwhelming customization features. So
so I believe the emulator released recently, and people weren't really too stoked with it. I think with emulators, it tends to be that it's obviously a third party kind of piece of software, and it's a little bit kind of dodgy because most companies don't want you emulating their games. So, but it tends to be that they have a lot of extra kind of graphical features and stuff. Anti-aliasing. You can select the type of anti-aliasing and stuff you're going to do, frame rates, all the rest of it. But the PS5 offering was just kind of a bit of a set and forget, and it also looked kind of like shit. Wasn't upscaled very nicely, so. This new emulator's been a bit of a breath of fresh air, I think, for the kind of, retro games community, I guess, to continue playing the games, which is kind of rad. Cool. Anyways, Grizz, Piranha Bytes Studios, the creators of Gothic, have closed, which is quite sad. Did you ever play the Gothic games, Grizz?
No, but they look kind of cool. They look kind of up my alley, but no, I didn't.
Yeah, I remember when Gothic first came out, it was like one of those games that... it was like a freaking crisis, basically. I really want to be able to play it, but my computer just could not fucking play it. It just was never going to happen. So, I remember back in the day being very disappointed that I couldn't play this cool new game called Gothic because, my home PC was just not up to the challenge.
How old are the games? How old are Gothic games, Cap?
Gothic would have had to be early 2000s. Let me do a quick Google. But, I would have thought... early 2000s. Let's see here. Gothic 2001.
Not bad.
Pretty good. He's good.
Cap, Riot Games cancels Pool Party, which was a unannounced Smash Bros. Style fighting game.
Yeah.
What was that other Smash Bros. One that we had that has kind of rode? You know what I'm talking about? Got like Bugs Bunny and random.
Yeah, I can't remember what the Warner Brothers one. What is it? Multiverses?
Multiverses,
that's the one. Thanks, Kazi. Yeah, Multiverses. That was abandoned, and they've just recently announced they're going to start supporting it again. Um,
Is it free to play? Is it free to play?
it is, and I think they got a
Yeah.
battle pass and stuff like that.
Mm.
But yeah, it's interesting, this one. I mean, for me, it kind of seems like maybe they saw that other similar kind of Smash Bros games weren't doing as well, especially when they're trying to hit
I think so.
free-to-play markets.
Mm.
You know, it also makes me wonder, like, you know, okay, you got this game called Pool Party. You know, it's a Riot game, obviously. What's their big IP? It's League of Legends. Was it just going to be League of Legends characters doing like Super Smash Brothers style fighting?
Dude, it had a 70 to 80 team of employees working on this game, Cap.
That's fucking wild. Yeah, that is wild.
That's a lot of people, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I'm not surprised, Chris, because I just can't think of anyone I know that would ever want to play a League of Legends Super Smash Brothers style fighting game.
Maybe that's why they've pulled it, mate.
Probably. But yeah, I just don't think the IP is strong enough to work outside of, you know, I mean, look, the anime's been really good, and obviously League of Legends itself is pretty big, but you know, outside of the kind of strategy stuff, I don't know, I can't really see it working too much. I mean, obviously, you know, they've done really well with Valorant and stuff, but I don't know, could you have seen it working in other, like a different style of, you know, thing like that?
Not really, Cap. I mean, I think Multiverse has kind of proved that. I don't think there's anything wrong with Multiverses. I think it was delivered pretty well. It seemed to run great.
Yeah.
It was free to play, but it just didn't generate like ongoing hype. And you know, you even look at what Smash Bros delivers, right? Like that is I don't know. Would you just say it's super popular now? I don't know. It's probably just a okay game that people kind of pull out every now and then and play. I don't know. Maybe there's just not a market for it.
I think the cross-pollination of these different IPs from Nintendo and other like gaming franchises works really well, and I think the difference is the visual style of Multiverses, but also on top of that, I think people didn't think the gameplay was as good as something like Smash Bros. So I don't think it hit the ground as hard as other ones, but yeah, I don't know. Weird. Anyways, crazy. Grizz, former LA Noire developers are reportedly working on a new game set in the 1940s. Man, I'm fucking keen on this because remember when LA Noire came out, the facial technology in that game was like next level. There's some pretty funny memes that came out in result of it. But, you know, doing the whole interviewing as a cop and, you know, that whole noir kind of cop thriller kind of thing. Yeah, it was a cracker game. I never finished it, but it was really, really well done.
It was. It was kind of like GTA, but old school GTA. Yeah. It's cool. This is mental, Cap. Terraria has sold 58.7 million copies.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of copies, dude. That is a lot of copies.
How
I
much
hope they make another Terraria.
How much does Terraria sell for, Grizz?
That's a good point. I actually don't know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe something like that.
I mean, even if it's $10, that's like what, $580 million. That's $500 million.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's more. Oh, dude, you're right. It's $10. That is such a fucking good game for $10, man.
Yeah, it's but still, man, like revenue of $580 million. That is out of control.
Terraria is one of my most played games, Capo.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a look right now.
It doesn't surprise me. I remember you doing plenty of Terraria streams with Jimmy Stubbs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got 300 hours in Terraria.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's quite a
That
few.
is wild. Oh man, yeah. Speaking of Jimmy, I do miss Jimmy too, mate.
Bloody Jimmy.
Grizzo, Space Marine 2 devs have cancelled their upcoming beta to focus on their best possible launch. That's a little bit concerning. Oh, I'm not gutted. I'm just kind of like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? So
best possible launch, Cap. Best possible.
Yeah. So that, especially the wording worries me because it's kind of like, are you anticipating a bit of a fucked launch? And this is going to make it slightly less fucked. based
That's what
on
it
the
sounds like
wording,
to
or
me.
is it? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, look, if they need more time, yeah, cool. But yeah, anyways, we'll see what happens.
Fuck, I don't know how I feel about this one, Capo. Palworld engages in a joint venture with Sony Music Entertainment and Aniplex to establish Palworld Entertainment Inc. for the purpose of accelerating the multifaceted global development of Palworld and its further expansions.
Yeah,
Sounds like they're going down the Fortnite route, Capo.
yeah. I don't know what the hell this even means. The end game of this is, yeah, I don't really know what it even is. It's kind of weird. I don't really know what this is. You know, I mean, obviously they've now got Sony in there. Kind of, I don't know whether it's just like a funding kind of thing or, but yeah, I mean, I wonder what the concurrent player base of Power World is at the moment. I can't imagine it's anywhere near what it was when it launched, but
No, dropped off a bit. I think people are still playing it though.
yeah. But I mean, it's obviously still popular enough to warrant a joint venture like this. Will be interesting to see what this actually results in terms of content. But yeah, very very weird wording, and also just the way it was announced and the wording that they used, like, you know, accelerating the multifaceted global development of Palwood and its further expansion. Like, what the hell, man? That's such a weird announcement, especially to put on Twitter to all your like fan base. It's just funny.
72,000 24-hour peak, Cap, with the all-time peak at 2.1 million.
It's dropped off a fair bit, hasn't it?
Mm.
I mean, it obviously was a massive spike, but I mean, 72K is not an awful lot. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not like significant. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Grizz, Sony boss notes that he wants to make a Sonic RPG before his retirement. I reckon that'd be pretty sick.
Fuck yeah. Super Mario World RPGs are good. Super Mario RPGs. Yeah, I can see it. Doing all right.
If they could, kind of distill a little bit of that similar energy into a Sonic RPG, I reckon that would be a wicked. Dr. Eggman, final boss? Hell yeah. Let's freaking go, baby.
Fuck yeah. Cap, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which is where you play as Zelda. Rating, summary, and description listed on ESRB. Zelda and Link listed as playable characters.
Yes.
So
now, there's a lot of speculation about this because obviously the trailer kind of mostly shows off Zelda, but and a lot of people are kind of speculating what I think is probably going to be the case. I think you'll probably just play as Link in the tutorial and then you'll just go to Zelda for the rest of the game. Maybe some flashback kind of shit, but I doubt it.
Okay.
But yeah. Grizz, final story. The Minecraft movie leaks suggest Jack Black will be playing Steve.
Okay, I like that. There's a lot of drama surrounding Jack Black right now, Capo, isn't there?
Yeah, I know that they cancelled their tour in Oz, but I don't actually really know what happened. I don't know if I want to open the can of worms because I think it was.
No, let's not open any
political.
Worms in here, mate. We're not going to open any worms in here.
No worms.
No worms.
We're a worm-free podcast.
We are. No trigger warnings.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be a cool movie. I don't know. I just kind of if it's anything like the Super Mario movie, not that I've seen it. From what I kind of gather that movie was, if they kind of go down a similar route of a lot of nostalgia and leaning on the kind of Minecraft cool shit and like, you know, just things you remember from the game.
Cap,
I think
can you repeat yourself, mate? Have you not seen the Mario movie?
I've still not seen it.
Mate, watch it with Ted.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what is it? Anyone in Australia that is in the chat, do you know if it's on any streaming services yet? Or maybe
it's on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah. It's on. Hey. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. I've watched it at home with my kids. Yeah.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Let me quickly
watch it.
Let me quickly sign in and see if it's in there. I will make sure that I watch that and report back.
Dude, I reckon you'll like it. It's good.
Oh, I'm sure I will. I think there's a lot of stuff in there that will harken back to, you know, the whole nostalgia factor. Super Mario? Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. I've also got the Sonic movies in here.
Super Mario.
And some movie about a turtle. There you go. Anyways. All right, Grizz. That's the show, baby. It's been great.
Fucking nailed it. Thanks, Capo.
Another
nice
banger.
work, mate.
Another absolute banger. Now, as mentioned, please note that the next episode will be on a Tuesday, and the following episode, fortnight from that date, is actually going to be skipped because I'm away on holidays. So, but we'll see you on the following episode after that. So you've got a Tuesday coming up, a hiatus, and then another Tuesday, I think. Either way, if you want updates on all this shit, because it's really hard to keep a track of. I mean, I'm struggling to keep a track of it, let alone you struggling to keep a track of it. Go to ogr.show, go and follow us on Twitter, go and jump in the Discord, come and say g'day. Subscribe to our freaking updates, okay? Now, if you want to join this podcast recorded live, you can do so by going to twitch.tv/Oceanic Gaming Radio. Follow us there. We go live generally on Monday nights for Fortnightly, but, you know, as we described for the next little few weeks, things are a little bit different. Otherwise, if you want to listen to it in your own time, go to ogr.show again. Go to your favorite podcasting platform, and you're good to go. Other than that, if you want to become a Patreon, go to patreon.com/OGR show. You can drop some dollars in our pocket, help us pay these freaking skyrocketing overheads. It's just spiraling out of control. Someone help. We're going to have to lay off Grizz very soon. So, yes, save Grizz.
Cutting costs. Yeah. We already got rid of Pav. Fuck him off. It cost too much.
He was bleeding us dry. But yeah, anyways, I think that's pretty much everything. Appreciate you guys immensely. If you got any ideas for things you'd like to see in episode 100, I mean, drop it in the Discord. But we are 3 fortnights away from that. So pretty hectic.
We're just going to drink a bottle of Jaeger, you and I. That's what we're going to do, 100th episode.
Sounds pretty good, actually. All right, legends. Appreciate you immensely. We'll see you next time on the Oceanic Gaming Radio podcast. Peace out.